So here we are. We have to use SPSS to analyze our data. So when we open our SPSS application, here's the interface. This is how you are going to see it usually. We have the data view and we have the variable view. So this is where we are going to insert our different variables. So when we, for example, let's go to let me go to my questionnaire. I have my questionnaire which I filled online. You see, for my questionnaire, my different variables of my social demographic data, we have age, sex, occupation, level of income. And then since my research topic is association of economic status and to physical activity and body mass index, I have width and height. So these are my different questions. So we'll have to carry each and every variable from here and bring it to SPSS. Now, um, we have age, sex, occupation, and level of income. So what do we need to have to do? We just simply go back to SPSS. We'll type the name of the variable here. So for example, the first one is age, the second one is sex. We have what again? Level of um level of income. In SPSS, when we are typing the names, we need to make sure that there's no space for the name of the variable here, but we can give the label space. So level of um, income. Yes, that is it. We go down. Um, what do we have again? We have occupation. So here I'll put occupation. Um, Actually, that should be employment status. So employment stay status. That is it. So these are my different variables. Now, for my other variables, we have here we'll be using BMI. I'll be using my BMI. So I'll need to come and input BMI. Now, in this my questionnaire, I'll be using weight and height to calculate my BMI. So that one I'm going to do it in my I'll be doing it out of SPSS and then importing it to SPSS. Then, as for the physical activity assessment, I'll need to assess people their physical activity based on these questions that are here. So, let's go back to our SPSS. Assuming these are just the variables we had to use, we can. We, what type of variable is age? Age is numeric. Sex is a string. So any variable that is non-numeric, put string there and take OK. For level of income, is not numeric. Since it will be categorized, you can use string, select string, and then employment status is not numerical. We'll use string. That is it. Now, I don't want any of my variables to have decimal places, so I take the decimal places down to 0. Now for the label, I can label this as age. It's important that you label it so that when you're displaying the data, it's going to show. Then we have sex, and then we have level of income. Here now we can write our level of income without putting a space, and then next one we have um, employment status. So um, for age now, we are going to categorize our age. Assuming that we already categorize our age in our questionnaires, let's say it was 30 to 40, 50, 30 to 40, then 41 to 50. So, for example, if I have, assuming I have two categories or two age categories, I can put a value 1 to represent people from 30 to 40 years old. And then I click on add. Now I can use 2 to represent people from maybe 41 to 45 years old or 46 years old. So let's say 2 to represent people from 41 to 46 years old. All right. So I take add, When I've taken add, then you click on OK. Now you see that there are two values here. There are two values here. It shows that when I will come to the data view and I want to input my first person on the questionnaire, when I input his age, his sex, his level of income, and his employment status, everything is going to appear there. So, yes. So, we go now to sex. Sex is male and female. So, I'll use 1 to represent what? Male. Can use 1 to represent male. Click on add, and use 2 to represent female. That is it. And then click on add. And then we take OK. Now, for level of income, let's assume that we have maybe
5 to 50,000.
yes. Now, let's just say we'll use 1 to represent people of low level income.
Okay,
Low level, low level income. So we add, yeah, say let's use 2 for people to represent people with medium,
income.
mid level income. And then we add, maybe we can use 3 to represent maybe
High level.
yes, or upper class, something like that. Upper level, that is it. And then we have added it. Then we click on OK. Now for employment status, we can use 1 to represent people who are unemployed. That's unemployed. And then maybe 2 for those yes who are employed, and then add, and then 3 for maybe students. Yeah, so yeah, if you're a student, we add that. So employed, unemployed, and then student. Then we click on OK. You see now that all of these categories that we have put here, we have their values. Now we come here to the measure. Age. What kind of variable is it? Is it nominal, ordinal, or is it scale? We see that age is nominal because age cannot be age um age is scale, sorry. Age is scale since it's a number. Now we go to sex. Sex is nominal since you cannot put sex in order or in hierarchy. Now we go to level of income. Now for level of income, it is ordinal because you can classify or categorize it, order it now from low level, medium to high. Then we go to employment status. It is nominal. So that is it. We are done with the measure. Now we come to our data view. This is our data view here. Assuming our first participant was the first group. Remember, for age, we had people, our categories, we had 1 to represent people 30 to 40 and 2 to represent people 41 to 46. So if we come to data view, our first participant, let's assume this is my questionnaire here. Let me just go. My first participant, his age, he is 24. So he falls within the first category. Unfortunately, I did not add um an age group of 24, but
Let's
just
just put
assume that
40.
he was 40 years. So we just go there. We take it lies within the first category. When I click on the first category, when I just write 1, you remember that in the variable view, we indicated that 1 for age to represent people from 30 to 40. So when I click on 1, it will show 30 to 40. Now, if he is male, if we click 1, it's going to represent male. Then his level of income, let's say it was medium level income. We click 2, he was going to put medium level income. His employment status, if he is employed, we use 1, and then he's okay, unemployed. Then depending on the way we have coded it, that is how it's going to show. So now um we also have to use our questions. Now for this example, I let's say you are doing something concerning knowledge and practice. So maybe we'll go now to questions concerning knowledge. So maybe let's say we're talking on hypertension. We can see what is hypertension. Yes, that is it. Now What is hypertension? Oh, I have used space. I'm not supposed to write space, so it has showed there that it's an illegal character. So we always forget to write it as one word. So what is hypertension? Don't put any space there so that you will not reject it. Yes. Now, what is hypertension? It's a string. Hypertension is string because hypertension is not numeric. So, okay. Select okay.
Please, can you talk about all those?
So these ones here determines the number of characters, the width, how many characters can get into what you are typing, how many characters are permissible. So it is not really of importance. We can leave that one for now. This must always put it to 0 decimal places. And then now for the label, it is what is hypertension. All right. Now for our answers, maybe on your questionnaire you had answer 1. We had maybe, let's say, pounding of the heart. We had it. Maybe 2 was yes, let's say systolic above 130 beats per minute. Millimeters of mercury, sorry. Millimeters of mercury. So you are supposed to add your questions like that accordingly. So depending on your questions that you have, let's say if your question has an answer of 4 responses, make sure you add all of the responses here. 1 to represent the first response, 2 to represent the second response. Then you click on OK. Now we go to this response here. It's nominal. It's nominal. Yes, that is it. So now, assuming that this was our question on knowledge. Now let's go to maybe question on practice. So practice. How often do you check your blood pressure? So let me just make it short. We'll put BP BP check. Yes, let's just put BP check. Yes, BP check here. You can put should it be can be numeric, right?
Yeah, numeric.
Yes, it will be numeric. Then come here, we'll drop it to 0 decimal places, and then say yes, BP check. And then we come here now. We can use maybe 1 for
2 times
every
3 hours.
Maybe in a week. Maybe our question is based on a week. So we can say every 2 days. Then maybe we can use 2 for people who say they do it every day. And then now we can use 3 for maybe let's say once a week, something like that, depending on how your questionnaire is structured. So we take add and then we take OK. So that is it. Then for the measure, it is skill, right? All right. So sorry, I forgot that this video I uploaded, it had an issue. My mic failed when going through the video. So we'll just continue we'll go to the variable view, the data view. Sorry. Now you remember that we coded age, sex. We used certain numbers to represent these different groups. So we'll put the numbers here to use it and fill our data according to the way it is on our questionnaire. So I'm just going to put in random numbers here just to fill it up and reach a certain number of participants. Okay. Then I'll go to the sex too. I'm going to do it. I'll adjust it there. Okay, so we might also want to add overall knowledge for each participant. So how are we going to do it? Simply go to the variable view and add another name for overall knowledge. So we'll come down below and type overall knowledge, and then it's going to be a string. It's not numeric, so when we are done from there, we put our string, then we do the other specifications. Yes, so the label there should be overall knowledge, and then we can, depending on the scale that you have decided to use, if it's the Bloom scale, we know that there's moderate knowledge, poor knowledge, and I don't know, I'm not really certain about that scale, but depending on the scale you have decided to use, you should know how you are going to input the data there. So with that said, let us go now and analyze. Well, before going to analyze, let's add overall practice too, since we just took this example with knowledge and practice. So let's fill it up for overall practice too, and then we will go now to the data view to see how it's going to be presented. Okay, so now we are going to randomly fill our form. We are going to fill it randomly so that we can, when we be computing the results, it can come out very well. So that is it. Okay, so in order to do presentation of this table, we'll simply have to navigate up to analyze. We'll go to analyze, descriptive statistics, and then we take frequencies. In that way, it's going to display frequencies for age, so we can select variables as we want. I'm holding the control key on the keyboard to select multiple. So we can select many variables as we want, and we put there. That's for demographic data. That is it. Click on statistics. I think this one here, in case you need the mean, the median, the mode, depending on your need, you can select it. For me, I will not be needing that. It's not too important for this. I don't really need it. And then also, if you want charts, you can click on charts and select how the data should be displayed. Then now, I think it's okay. So we take okay now, and you see how it's going to be displayed. As you can see here, this is the output of the data we have analyzed. You can see the frequency percentage, and then the other valid percent, cumulative percent, the total, and you see everything. So that is all about presenting the statistical tables. Yeah. So in order to do analysis, to test now for association, we'll do something similar. We are going to do something similar by going up to analyze, then cross tabs. Then from there, we'll take, maybe we want to relate the knowledge on hypertension, like the individual questions. Maybe we want to take the knowledge on hypertension and relate it maybe with practice. So we click on statistics, and then we select the chi-square test depending on the requirements of your variables, how your variables relate, and then we'll just take continue. For me, it will be the chi-square. Just take continue. Then we come to cells. We want that row and total should be checked so that the percentages can be displayed. And then observe counts is already checked. We take continue. From there, the styling, no, there's no need for styling. That formatting is okay. Everything, always make sure it is checked. Then click on OK. So when we have clicked on OK, you see now this is the association that we are checking here. What is hypertension? And then so it's associating that question, hypertension and blood pressure, and from there you can see it with these results. So that's like relating knowledge and practice. So from there, we can scroll down to see the chi-square test. So here we see that as asymptotic significance, that is the p-value, here is greater than 0.05. So it shows that there is no association between the knowledge and practice. That is just for with the random values we have inputted. That is it. So for that question, there's no significance. That is what it shows. Now we can also do a test with overall knowledge with overall practice in order to see how the results turn out. So we simply go to analyze descriptive statistics, cross tabs, then we can drop this. So we have to click inside the box and click the arrow out so it drops out. Yes, it drops out. Then we take overall knowledge, put in rows, overall practice, click on OK, and that is it. It has come out. I didn't click on statistics and on cells because that setting has been retained with regard to this particular work that we are doing. So that is it. Now you can see people who had good knowledge, people who had average knowledge, who had poor knowledge. You can see it there all, and then it has been plotted against overall practice. You can see the percentage there. Then we can scroll down now to the chi-square test. So under the for the chi-square test, you can also see here that there is no association. The asymptotic significance there is 0.738. So it shows that there is no association whatsoever with knowledge and the practice. Assuming it was less than 0.05, we know that there is a strong association. There's an association that exists between knowledge and practice. But this doesn't exist because of the way we input our results. We just put things at random just for the purpose of demonstration. Yeah. So that is it. Then we might also want to analyze demographics with how overall practice or overall how practice or knowledge is distributed among the demographics. So by doing this, we can select any of the questions here, or we just take overall practice or overall knowledge and add it in order to look if there's any association between that. So scroll down, you see that people from the age 30 to 40, they said 4 people said it is pounding of the heart, while 12 people said it is a systolic above 130 millimeters of mercury, and so on. So that is just how you can relate some of the variables to get more data or more interpretation in your work as you're doing your work. As for the chi-square test for age and this thing and hypertension, you can see that there's no significance too. There was not really no significance since it's larger than 0.05. They will have 0.98 instead, 0.098. So it's larger than 0.05. And there was no significance with it. Then also, don't always forget to save your work. Always save it. So you can always go to File and take Save and save your work so that you don't have any problems. So right now I'm going to I just wanted to show you some of the way the tables are plotted on the research guide. I think the research guide is made available to everyone. So that is it, and how the research how some of the tables are supposed to look like. So some of those tables can be copied directly from SPSS by right-clicking on the tables on the output, copying it, and then just coming to your work and pasting. If you have any questions, any doubts, anything like that, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and I'll answer. Or you just get back to me, and I'm going to explain. So this is just a bonus on how to format the tables. When you copy a table from SPSS and bring in here, or when you are creating a table from scratch, I think it is easier to create a table from scratch because at times it might be frustrating. You simply just follow the procedures on screen as I am doing. Come down, we select the format which has 3 lines. Then once it is selected, let's just look for it, look for a format, and then we go to shading and make sure that the shading there's no colors, there's no shading on the tables. And I think that is how our tables are supposed to look like. Also we also don't want the borders, we also don't want the borders to be we don't want the borders to be to be in all cells, or all cells to have borders. So what we are going to do is use our pen, our border tool, to draw from left to right and organize the table. So I'll draw from the first row to the second and then do the bottom, and practically we are done. That is it.